this video, we want to evaluate trig functions by using any angle, and we determine the values of these trig functions that I've listed here by finding the reference angle, and then we're going to see in which quadrant is the angle located and find the correct sign. Let's first of all just take a look at 4 pi over 3. In which quadrant is 4 pi over 3? Think about it for a minute. That's 4 pi over 3. 3 pi over 3 is pi, so that's the straight line. And then we have another pi over 3, so 4 pi over 3 is in quadrant 3. Q3. Okay, so now if I want to use the reference angle, and actually one of our common 60, 30, 45 degree angle triangles, I have to find the reference angle. The reference angle is always the difference between the actual angle and the horizontal, the x-axis. So the reference angle theta prime is this little piece. How do we find it? Well, we find it by subtracting pi from it. We have 4 pi over 3 minus pi, which is 3 pi over 3, and that is 1 pi over 3. So our reference angle is pi over 3. So we can use the knowledge, what we know about our reference angle, pi over 3, which by the way is what? 60 degrees. If I draw my triangle relationship here, oops, here you go. We just did it. Let's make this 60, 30. We have 1, 2, square root of 3. This is our special triangle relationship. Pi over 3 is 60 degrees. We can use the reference angle now to find the cosine of 4 pi over 3. We have to now watch out for the sign, and that depends on the quadrant we are in. The cosine in quadrant 3, and don't you forget it, I hope you remember, is negative. So the cosine of 4 pi over 3 based on the reference angle is the same as the negative cosine of pi over 3. And the cosine of pi over 3 is what? The cosine of 60 degrees is 1/2. So in this case, that would be equal to negative 1/2. So the cosine of 4 pi over 3 is equal to, if I can squeeze it in here, negative 1/2. You look at the reference angle and you look at the quadrant you're in, and that's how you determine what the trig function is. Let's take a look at the sign of 4 pi over 3. We're still in quadrant 3. The sign is negative, and if I look at my little triangle relationship here, the sign would be negative square root of 3 over 2. Again, I can just use the reference angle. Let's take a look at one more example. We have 225 degrees. Again, it's always a good idea to make yourself a little sketch and see what kind of reference angle we have here. We have 225 degrees. If we are in degree mode, then the straight angle is 180 degrees, and we have 270 degrees. So 225 is also in quadrant 3, 225 degrees. Here you go. Now to find the reference angle would be this angle from the horizontal to the terminal side. This is our theta prime, and the way we find it is by subtracting 180 from 225. So the reference angle is 225 minus 180, which is 45 degrees. So that means I could also write the sine of 225 as, in quadrant 3, the negative sine of 45 degrees. We're basically always looking at the reference angle that is between 0 and 90 degrees. 45 degrees, special angle. Here's our triangle. We all know how that looks like. 1 square root of 2. So the sine of negative 200, the sine of 225 degrees would be negative square root of 2 over 2. And the tangent of 225 degrees is, first of all, positive in quadrant 3, so I don't have to say it's positive tangent of 45 degrees. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, so the tangent of 225 degrees is 1. You don't have to write the reference angle down anymore. You're using the reference angle in order to evaluate the actual function.